Today's video is a little bit special, right? Because I'm not just reviewing a book, I'm also talking about a piece of my childhood. And actually, two pieces. So, Sudha Murty's The Magic Drum and Other Favorite Stories, and The Bird with Golden Wings are books I've read and reread multiple times, first as a child and then again as an adult. And every single time they bring back this sense of wonder and warmth that's hard to put into words, right? So when I think about these books, I immediately think about sitting cross-legged on the floor, flipping through pages filled with kings, queens, talking animals, and magical objects. But more than anything, I remember how curious I used to feel. Like, what would I do if I found a golden bird? Or would I have been smart enough to fool a greedy man like that? The stories are so simple, just a few pages each, but these carry, this really strong messages about kindness, honesty, wit, generosity, and also what happens when we don't act with these values. And the best part, they never preach. They just show through fun, sometimes funny, little tales. The magic drum is more rooted in Indian folk, with characters that feel straight out of a grandmother's treasure chest. And The Bird with Golden Wings, here's the book, leans more into parables, quick moral stories that stick with you way after you finish reading. Even today, I find myself picking them up when I want something comforting. They're light, yes, but not forgettable. And sometimes as adults, we underestimate children's stories. And these are like these powerful, they're so powerful because they're timeless. They remind you of what matters, they make you laugh, and sometimes they make you stop and think. So if you've read them, tell me your favorite story from either of these books. I'd love to know. And if you haven't yet, I genuinely recommend picking them up. Whether you're buying them for a child or just for yourself, you'll find something in there that speaks to you. Okay, before I end, I'm going to read out one of my favorite stories from The Bird with Golden Wings. It's short, okay, it's lovely, and I think you'll enjoy it a lot. So here comes. This one's called A Father's Wisdom. A rich and wise father had two sons, Puru and Puneet. One day, he fell seriously ill. The doctors told him he had very little time to live. So the father started putting his affairs in order. He divided his property between his two sons, then he called them for some last words of advice. Listen to me carefully, children, he told them. Live by these words of mine throughout your life, and you will be happy. Build a house in every city. Sleep comfortably. Enjoy your food. When you lend someone money, don't ask him to return it. Before he could explain his words, he died. After his death, the two sons each took his share and settled down in different cities. 5 years passed. Puru, who had been following his father's words carefully, became penniless. But his brother was richer than ever. Puru was puzzled. Both had started off with the same amount of money and had followed their father's words of advice. Yet, why was he poor? And his brother so rich? He decided to visit Puneet to find out. Puneet was very pleased when Puru came to visit. He looked after him affectionately. That night, when the brothers sat down to chat after dinner, Puru asked the questions that had been playing on his mind for so many days. I followed father's words exactly, Puru said. I built a house in every city, but because I could not stay there, always I had to hire people to look after the houses. I lent money to people and never asked them to return it. So more and more people borrowed money from me, and now I have nothing. Father said we should sleep comfortably and eat well, so I got expensive beds made and employed expert cooks to prepare my meals. All this has left me without a paisa to call my own. Yet you say you too have done what father told us to do, so how are you so rich? Puneet smiled and said, Puru, you did not understand the real meaning that lay behind our father's words. When he said build a house in every city, he meant we should make many friends living in different places so that when we traveled to those places, these friends would offer us a place to stay and keep comfortable. I too lent money to people and never asked them to return it. Instead, I kept a mortgage. My creditors wanted to get out of the mortgage quickly, so they would return the money as soon as they could. I slept comfortably each night because I would be tired after a hard day's work, and it did not matter if I was sleeping on a bed or on the hard floor. I ate only when hungry, and at that time the simplest meal tasted like nectar. Puru, you should have searched for the true meaning behind father's words. When you say of a good natured person, he is like a child, you don't really mean that the person is a child, do you? Now Puru realized how foolish he had been. His brother gladly lent him some money to start off in life again. Having understood the true meaning of his father's advice, Puru used the money wisely, and he too one day became rich and successful. These are the two brothers. This is Puru and this is Puneet. So this is just one of the many stories in Sudha Murty's collection of books. And these two, as I did say earlier, I'd recommend it for any adult or child, okay? Because we just don't see meaning, right? It happens sometimes. That's normal, right? But what can we do to search for meaning, to look for meaning in life? Well, I